right, welcome back in, boys. It's 2024, week 8. Let's get into it. I'm back on a winning streak. That's right. I stopped picking SEMA, and all of a sudden I'm winning again. I took my draft bro, Cooper. I took him to teach his son, Max, a lesson. Max is definitely calling Cooper daddy. I mean, despite being only a 2-point favorite, Cooper beat Max by 53. I mean, just dropped a hammer on him. He just shoved those pocket dogs right in Max's throats like a total bag of dicks. Take that, you AI overlords. I told you this team was going to be good. Now, that puts me at 5-2 on the year, and if you take my 2 losses, you just subtract on out those silly Big Thunder weeks, I'm undefeated on this season. I blame you, Corey, for my undefeated-less season, however that would go. But no review of last week in detail. We are going to get right into it because this is going to be a good preview. Why? I try to make sure that everyone gets a preview. I also try to preview close games. Well, you know who hasn't gotten a preview yet? Fat Gandalf. That's right, Fat Gandalf and Sexy Saruman. They have not gotten a preview. Our local wizards need to get an anal probe, and this is the week. So, our wizarding duo, also known as the Mental Erections, they take on the silent owner, Max. Max gets the rare back-to-back preview, although I've done it a couple times this year. After coming off a spanking from his daddy, he really needs a win. Now, not only did I need to preview both these teams, particularly the Wizards, AI has this game at a tie. They are both predicted for 145 points, but the big difference here is the Wizards only have 2 wins on the season. Max is sitting pretty at 4-3, so the Wizards really need a win. The Wizards have been casting a bunch of spells recently. They're trying to coerce their owners into some trades with whatever magic they're able to cast. So let's see if using their rare birch and mushrooms or whatever they did to concoct those concoctions and potions, let's see if that paid off. I think Sexy Saruman was over there just trading with people trading for people based on their skin routines. I don't know what you think about there, you weird, sexy wizard. But let's see if it paid off in this week's preview. When we go to the quarterback section, we've got Bo Nix and Purdy. That's who Max is rolling out. And on the Wizards side, we have Hurts and Rodgers. So how amazing is it that Max is choosing to start Bo Nix over Pat Mahomes? I mean, seriously, Bo Nix over Pat Mahomes. That's amazing. Screw Materd. That guy sucks. Now, the jury is still out if Bo Nix is actually any good at quarterback. But he runs, and he gets Carolina this week. Carolina has definitely become the punching bag of the NFL. They're just not good on defense. AI has him at 20 points. I am definitely taking the over on Nix. I don't know how he doesn't rush for at least 50 yards. He gets 30 to 75 pretty regularly. So, I don't know, 50 seems average for him. I think he gets at least there. And he should have at least 175 passing yards. I mean, he's dang near getting to 20 points on just his yardage. So, when you combine that with TDs, I don't know how they don't score at least 2 TDs this week. I mean, he might throw for 2 and rush for 1 or vice versa. I mean, I think the guy's a must start this week. Purdy, on the other hand, dude, I have no idea what to make with this team. Literally every single skill position starter in San Francisco is either confirmed out or questionable. I really have no idea what Purdy's going to do. Now, Dallas has been in the middle of the pack as a defense, or pass defense. Materd here gets Vegas. Vegas is bad. If I'm Max, I'm probably starting Materd over Purdy. While I love the Shanny offense, you guys know that. I love his system. Although this year has been odd with these deep passes, his entire starting offense might be backups. I mean, AI has him also predicted at 20. How in the world does AI have Purdy predicted for the same number of points as Bo Nix? I am certainly taking the under for Purdy. And like I said, I really don't think I would start him. I think I would start Mahomes and just hope that he has a good week versus a bad defense. So certainly not in on Purdy this week. Moving over to the Wizards. You know what? I think they believe they found some magic in Rodgers. I think they believe that they casted a spell, they did something, there's some magic was found. Devontae Adams arriving in New York. You know, they have this energy about them. They have this energy like, hey, he's going to go off this week. I've got a feeling. They've got that vibe about them. Wizards, newsflash. He's not. Rodgers is done. He's not good. I mean, could he score more than Purdy against a, pretty bad Patriots defense? I mean, sure, yeah, he could. But waiting for Rodgers' upside is like waiting for Gandalf the Grey to turn into Gandalf the White. I mean, it's slow, it's boring. Our boy Ryan didn't even finish the movies and has no idea that Gandalf the White even exists. So newsflash, Gandalf the Grey is going to die before you even get to Gandalf the White. And then he's got to return from the dead just so you get one epic battle. So is this the one battle that Aaron Rodgers has left in him? I doubt it. The guy's just done. His upside is worthless. I mean, he might be okay, and beat out Purdy, but that's it. That's all you're getting out of it. I'm dysfunctional. I've said this before. Dysfunctional teams do not win, and it is abundantly clear that the Jets are clearly dysfunctional. So, off by Rodgers. Soapbox, moving on to Hurts. It don't get much better. Now, Hurts is carrying the weight of this quarterback group like Frodo's carrying the weight of the One Ring through the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, just all of it's on him. This one little hobbit, right? He's carrying all the weight of movies. So what do you get? Now, I flat out think that Hurts is not a good quarterback. I've thought this since he entered the league. I thought this when he won the Super Bowl. He just can't pass the ball. Can you define an offense around him? I mean, sure, maybe you can. Welcome to the new NFL where running quarterbacks are somehow viable. But I don't think he can pass. Now, the other side of this coin is his weapons are incredible. I mean, every single position is great. So I think his weapons can bring him up. Will they do it every game? No. But this week, they get the red-hot Joe Burrow. He looks healthy, and he looks like he might throw for dang near 50 TDs. So the over-under on this game is 48. SEMA, are you listening? Take the over. I definitely think this game goes over 50 points, and if it does, Philly's going to have to score to keep up. And with everyone finally healthy in Philadelphia, I think that Hurts rolls. So, like in the movies, when Frodo eventually completes his mission and destroys that One Ring, I think Hurts brings home the week for the Wizards. I think that's it. So the edge goes to Fat Gandalf and Sexy Saruman in the first group. Now the wide receiver group is pretty big. It includes the flexes. So on Max's side, we have 4 players. We have Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Reed, T. Higgins, and Ricky Pearsall. On the Wizards side, we have DJ Moore, Sutton, Garrett Wilson, and Nick Moore. This is an interesting group. They're matched up pretty well. Both groups have some high-round draft picks. They've got a middle-round draft pick, and they both have recent free agent pickups that are only starting because of injury. So looks pretty even on the face of it. Now, Marvin Harrison squares off against DJ Moore. Remember, the Wizards drafted 3 Bear pass catchers. I made fun of them at the draft. Fat Gandalf looked at this shitty offense, and he was like, damn, that looks like second breakfast. I need me a piece of that. He wanted the Bears offense as bad as it was. It was like that last slice of cold pizza when he woke up in the morning. I mean, he went through the Battle of Helm's Deep and saw that box of pizza and said, oh, I need that pizza. That cold pizza is sexy. Reminds me of Saruman. All right, that's a little weird. But that's what I got, all right? So early in the season, honestly, these Bears picks looks terrible. I told them in multiple articles, get out of this. Well, now we are about halfway through the season. Caleb's finally looking good. They traded out of everything. There is no more Kmet. There is no more Odunze on this team, but they kept DJ Moore. And going up against Washington, I think that he should have a pretty good week. Caleb looks like he's finally getting up to speed in the NFL. Meanwhile, Marvin Harrison hasn't even come close to matching his draft stock. End of round 1, get out. I wasn't buying it at the draft, and I'm still not buying it. That means this guy's got to be like a top 5, top 8 receiver to justify his draft pick. And I didn't think there was any way a rookie receiver was going to get there, and he's not. The last month, Marvin Harrison hasn't had more than 5 points in a single game. He's going up against the Miami defense, who feel free to make fun of us all you want. We give up the least amount of points to wide receivers in the league. It's mostly because most people can run on the Dolphins. Fortunately for Max, I think that's exactly what Arizona does. So, the only hope Max has here is that Tua comes back, lights up Zona. All of a sudden, we're, scoring 50 points, and they got to pass to keep up. I just don't think that's happening to his first game back. I just don't see that. Moving on to the next group, we've got Reed versus Sutton. Another good matchup. It's just, matchups made in heaven. Reed gets Jacksonville. Sutton gets Carolina. I already told you Carolina's a punching bag. Well, Jacksonville's even worse. Jacksonville is terrible at defending the pass. Our hometown Jags just cannot get it done versus the pass. So when it comes to Reed, I have to think that Reed comes in with a much better shot at a touchdown than Sutton does. Sutton just... Bo's been fine, like I said earlier. Carolina's bad, but I do think they run against Carolina. I don't know that they pass a bunch. Sean Payton just has always preferred the run, so that's where I think that game goes. Reed, much better shot at a touchdown. Going into the next group, we've got Higgins versus Garrett Wilson, both fairly high draft picks, and let me tell you, I love me some Higgins. The dude's on pace for something like 1,800 yards. He's just rolling in the games that he has started. I think he's averaging about 18 points per game. Again, games that he's started. So I think this ends up being a shootout for Higgins. Our AI overlords have him projected at only 14, despite, like I told you, he's averaging 18, and I think that's just insane. I think there's no way he walks out of this week with under 15. I just don't see that. Meanwhile, Sexy Saruman is over here trying to seduce the Jets still. Not only did they start Rodgers, they're stacking that with Garrett Wilson. Sorry, Saruman, but you're going to need a few more gym sessions before you get on that stripper stage. You are not ready for prime time. Like I said, dysfunctional teams don't win. Now, will Loverboy Rodgers get it to Devontae Adams? Maybe. But that leaves Wilson left in the dust. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Higgins takes that group, despite the draft pedigree. Now, the most interesting pairing here is Pearsall versus McMillan. So Max stacks his boy Purdy with the new Niner weapon Pearsall. Now remember, this guy was shot in the ass 2 months ago. Oh no, wait, that was somebody else shot in the ass, but he was definitely shot 2 months ago. He's making his first start. So, yes, it's the Niners, and yes, they're good. I love Shanny. We're supposed to think that they're going to be great. I'm not buying it. At some point, injuries take their toll. Now, I think we're at that point with the Niners. They literally are starting all backups at every position on offense outside of quarterback. That has to take a toll. However, in Tampa, the Wizards are baking. Mayfield has been on fire. He's lost both of his starting wide receivers. I absolutely think that affects them. However, somebody has to catch the ball, and they get a shootout, or a game that should be a shootout, in Atlanta. So I think McMillan, I mean, he's coming off a good game. Maybe he's the guy. So if Baker has a good week, it's got to go to somebody. So I'm going to guess that that's McMillan. So it's not really a tough one here, but with very little data, a tough one to call. But I'm going with the Wizards, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close in the wide receiver category. Like I said, I'm going with the Wizards overall. All right, moving on to running backs. We have Kamara and Aaron Jones on Max's side, and the Wizards take Achane and James Cook. Well, here we go. Another fun matchup. Kamara is rolling this year. Everything is going through him. It seems to be the secret to Max's success. However, he is banged up, questionable. He is likely to play, but play hurt, and he gets a tough Chargers run defense and likely getting Rattler at quarterback. Look, I don't think he's not startable, but I think he's like a back-end running back 2 type this week. I don't see an upside with his situation this week. Great for the year, a trade for candidate, I guess, but just not this week. So Aaron Jones is healthy and is in a potential shootout with the Rams. AI has him projected for about 15 points, and I think that sounds about right. It's just going to depend on whether or not he falls in the end zone. If he does, he'll probably get to that 18-point range. If he doesn't, he's probably more like 12, 13. But I think he just has a good, solid week. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Wizards trades have really upgraded their running back room. This is where they're seeing the upgrade. And Achane is a roller coaster. Started off season hot and just boom, a month of nothing, just in the trough. However, he gets Tua back this week and a bad Zona defense. Now, I imagine with no third wide receiver in Miami, I don't even know if OBJ is playing, and Berrios is out, somebody has to play that position, and I think it's going to be Achane, just like he did the first week. So, I mean, I think he's a lock for 5 catches. So, what does he do with that? I don't know. But it just takes one with him. So, that's pretty interesting. I like Achane moving forward. Cook gets the kind of middle-of-the-road Seattle defense, and while the trade for Amari Cooper might make you think that Buffalo is going to go back to this pass-heavy scheme, I don't think that's the case at all. I just think their wide receivers in Buffalo were terrible. Like, not even league average, like well below league average. There was certainly no alpha there. Coleman's fine for a rookie, but fine for a rookie is not a number 1 receiver. They need someone to take some pressure off the running game. Well, that's what I think Cooper does. He makes them respectable, and I think Cook continues to get fed. Like, this team has just decided that they are going to run the ball. I mean, Sexy Saruman is looking at Cook and is saying, like, damn, this guy has some running back 1 energy. Like, he is just... that skincare routine, man, I love it. You know what? I'm feeling it. Dre, stop it. Get your hand out of your pants, all right? Stop. All right, who's that edge going to this week? I'm going to go against the grain here and take the Wizards. Max clearly has the better floor. I'm just betting this week that the Wizards actually hit their ceiling. Moving on to tight end, we've got Fergie versus Likely. Max is starting Fergie over Laporta. So let that sink in. Ferguson starting over Laporta. Remember just a couple months ago when every fantasy analyst said Laporta is the number 1 tight end overall? Man, fantasy football, you are a fickle mistress. All that being said, Fergie's the right start. I mean, Laporta is not getting any volume at all. So I'm taking Fergie as the right start. He's fine. I think he has a 4 for 40 type line almost every week. It's just whether or not he gets that touchdown. Likely, on the other hand, is in a timeshare with Mark Andrews. Say what you want about that, but he is not the clear-cut starter. And they play the Browns, who give up the least amount of points, or like the third least, to tight ends. So splitting time and playing against a rough defense, I don't even know why you're starting Likely. I mean, is Hunter Henry available? I'd go pick him up. I just don't think it's a very good start at all. So certainly the edge goes to Max. So, pick of the week. Fat Gandalf is casting that resurrection spell on his season. He's pulling out the win this week. Sexy Saruman, this dude's going into full thirst mode. He's thinking, you know what? That one time I started Jimmy G in the championship, damn, that jawline really carried me to victory. I mean, look at those cheekbones. That is where Sexy Saruman's head's at. He is going to be in Jimmy's DMs like before the end of the weekend. Dre, you got to stop. Just stop it. At some point, man, you are going to end up getting arrested. I can't do anything about it. Don't put anything in writing. That's my advice. Nothing in writing, okay? Show up at the game, yell your obscenities, do whatever it is that sexy wizards do. Cast your spell on Jimmy and go live happily ever after. All right, boys, that's it. I'm out. Enjoy the week. I'm taking Sexy Saruman, Fat Gandalf for the win. Max, I'm sorry. You're going to end up 500. You need to get back in the winning seat. All right. Peace out.